And hey, well, this is Francisco from Wondershare DrFone, and today I would like to present to you all one of the best tablets that you can possibly buy in 2020, and this is going to be the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7. It's time to upgrade, and if you've got a Tab S4 and below, for sure, and this is going to very much be worth the upgrade. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into that. Let's just go ahead and start by talking about the build and the design of this tablet. This is easily Samsung's best work so far, as it's built really well. It uses metal for the entirety of the build, except for the front obviously, since that's going to be glass, and it feels really nice and hefty while not feeling fragile at all. I got the Mystic Black one, but you do have two more colors that you can choose from. I just ended up preferring this one since it just suits me a little bit better. I think it looks absolutely beautiful in this design, and there's just so much more to discuss here. And you've got a sleep-wake button, a volume rocker, and a micro SD card slot, all on the right side of this tablet. On the bottom, there's going to be a USB-C port for charging and two speakers, while on the top, there are two more speakers creating a quad speaker combo, which is actually pretty cool. And we're going to get into a sound test pretty soon as well. The tablet features an 11-inch 2560 by 1600 IPS resolution display. And the best thing about this display is really that it runs at 120 Hz. In spite of its beautiful colors and just how bright it gets, it is a really nice screen. And this time around, we've got a high enough refresh rate that just navigating through the menus and going through the different aspects of Android feels incredibly smooth. This was a great move on their end and makes the tablet much more competitive in my opinion. As for the speakers, we've got 4 of them, and they are going to sound pretty decent for what they are, but they aren't world-shattering by any means. So go ahead and have a listen. What's up? You're watching the DrFone channel, and today I'm going to tell you about 3 methods to transfer all of your data from your old iPhone to a new one. And hey, my name is Francisco from the DrFone channel, and today I would like to talk to you about transferring data from one iPhone to another. If you're going to be switching to a new iPhone, or if you just have a bunch of files to transfer over, like very specific ones, like for example, and as for specs, I've actually got the base model here, which features a Snapdragon 865 Plus and Adreno 650 GPU, 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, but it does have a micro SD card slot, so you can actually upgrade the internal storage if you wanted to, without having to pay the much higher prices of getting the higher tier ones, unless you wanted more RAM, since the higher tier ones do have 8 gigs of RAM instead of 6 gigs of RAM. However, I don't think that's going to make a huge difference here, so I would just go with the micro SD card expansion option. And the cameras here are going to be both good and not so good at the same time. And we've got a set of 2 cameras around the back, one being a pretty nice looking 13 megapixel wide angle lens, and the other being a very grainy 5 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. And the first lens is actually pretty cool because you can take some nice photos and videos with it, but the second one is completely unnecessary since it doesn't look good at all and it suffers from terrible rolling shutter, and that is just not a very good user experience in my opinion. And the front-facing camera is actually an 8 megapixel that ends up maxing out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. While it would have been nice to have it be maxed out at least at 60 frames per second, it is good enough for video calls and things of the like. And these cameras aren't going to be amazing by any means, but they do get the job done still. So hey, I mean, there's that. And let's go ahead and talk about note-taking in general on this tablet. With the included S Pen, you actually get a lot of functionality. I think to its shape, it's incredibly comfortable to write on this display, and I have to say that it really is a wonderful experience. So if you are a student, then this will be a great option for you for sure, because it just offers a lot of versatility and it just feels incredibly accurate when you're writing on it. I really like this for note-taking, and I can strongly recommend it for that purpose. And sure, it doesn't really have an eraser tip, however, you can still remap the functionality of the main button on the S Pen in order to do that, just depending on how you want it to go. And you can actually do that per app, which is a pretty cool thing. So you can adjust an eraser to trigger when you press this button whenever you're just on Sketchbook Pro, and if you're on any other kind of app, you can have it do anything else. And I think that that is really cool to have. Not to mention that taking quick notes on this at the press of just one button is incredibly convenient. So yeah, there is that. Highly recommended for those who need that kind of experience for sure. Now, if you're an artist, I think that you will also really love this tablet with the S Pen that already comes included in the box. Performance is going to be incredibly smooth, and it recognizes tilts to emulate a real pen or pencil when drawing, so you can get pretty much as detailed as you want with this. And I actually really prefer this experience with the S Pen over the Apple Pencil on the iPad Pro. And this is just much more nicely shaped in my opinion, and it does have a more precise tip since it's so thin. I love it for drawing, and I think that you will too. And now, this tablet is not perfect, and I do still have my gripes with it. And the number one thing here is going to be that the magnet system on the back for holding the stylus is incredibly weak, and you have to hold it at a very specific point, and it just lets go of that stylus incredibly easily. If you just nudge it or do anything to it, it's not going to be a very good experience. So I recommend getting a holder, a separate holder for it actually, because the magnets on the back are just incredibly weak. Battery life is not going to be great here, especially if you have it at full resolution and at the max refresh rate. But to me, it is worth that sacrifice. Also, there is no headphone jack, which is still going to be annoying on a device this big. And lastly, that ultra-wide lens is a waste of money that could have gone into improving other aspects of this tablet, like getting a nicer magnet for your pen, for instance. That would have been a much better investment. And this is still an amazing option if you are a student or an artist, and I can strongly recommend it for its prowess. It is a great tablet, but it lacks software support in terms of apps to make it a true competitor to the iPad Pro. We actually need better photo editing software and better video editing software for sure, and even more. But otherwise, this is a really great tablet that is priced nicely as well, and this is going to be an artist's dream, so I have no choice but to recommend it really. And that's pretty much it. And just make sure to leave us a like if you like this video, and comment down below your thoughts regarding this tablet, and do make sure to subscribe for more content moving forward, as well as more reviews. So until next time, have a good one, and I will see you later.